I'm Tony Scott with bnetTV. We are here at the Broadband World Forum in Amsterdam. I'm speaking with Mr. Todd Antes of Qualcomm. How are you today, sir?
Doing well, thanks.
Excellent. Great conference. I know that you said off camera that this was your first time at the Broadband World Forum, but it is fantastic. Qualcomm has been a major part of the player in this ecosystem for quite a long time. But why don't you explain a bit about what you're doing here and where Qualcomm fits?
Yeah, well, I guess maybe to go back just a bit, Qualcomm Atheros actually is the combination of Atheros and Qualcomm. Qualcomm acquired Atheros Communications about a year ago. And Atheros Communications for the last decade or so has actually been focused quite intently on this space, the broadband connected home. And so with the combination with Qualcomm, obviously we're bringing the assets of the two companies together. This is an important show for us. We think the connected home is a great area of growth for Qualcomm Atheros, and we're here demonstrating a lot of our technologies for connecting the home, wireless LAN, power line technology, and how those go into home gateway devices.
So definitely a major flavor at this show is the connected home arena ecosystem. It's got some great play over the last 12 months, and definitely within the next 12 months, I think that we're going to see an explosion. What does that mean for you guys, and what news have you recently announced regarding it?
Yeah, so we've had news at the conference. I mean, obviously we're excited about where everything is going here. I think that, in the traditional spaces of, the triple play, already voice, video, data in the home, we have, we think, important new technology, both in Wi-Fi. We're showing our latest 802.11 AC. This is gigabit wireless for the home. We're demonstrating that here at the show. We're also demonstrating the next generation of power line technology. It's called Homeplug Av2, and we had an announcement in the press about that first product really in the world, demonstrating that here also at the show. And then we're also showing the combination of those two technologies in a new approach we call hybrid networking, which is really the combination of wireless and power line together in some of the higher end home deployments for video services, and that's also getting quite a bit of notice. And so that's kind of the traditional space that we've been serving, and that's some of the news. But also important, we're seeing a lot of interest at this show in what we call the smart home. Right, so it's not just the voice, video, data, but it's also what other services can we bring to the home? Maybe it's home control or security or health monitoring. And so a lot of the service providers that we've been talking to here are interested in what they might do beyond their current services today.
What would you say the life cycle rate is of the current home router? Is it getting thinner?
Yeah, really the home router comes into the home through two channels. One is a retail channel where the customer goes into a store and buys something off the shelf and brings it home and installs it themselves. The other one is through a paid subscription, right, for a video or voice or data service, internet service. And those actually have different timelines. In the case of the consumer, they're typically buying, it's more of the fashion approach, right? What's the latest and greatest technology? We typically are seeing maybe 3 years or so on average. People that are kind of tech savvy will go in. There's been enough innovation in the Wi-Fi area and the power line area that they're interested in new compelling products about every 2 to 3 years. In the case of the service providers, it's a bit longer life cycle. Again, they're installing equipment into your house. There's a pretty big capital investment for them to do that, so they want to make sure that you're not just turning that over every other year. So those life cycles tend to be more on the order of 3 to 5 years.
Within that context, then, where are we within the ecosystem at this particular point when you're bringing these gigabit type routers into the market space, and we know and we've established that the connected home arena is going to get such a larger play in 2013. Is this the year, or is next year the year where we're going to see a big life cycle change in the equipment in the home?
I don't think there's going to be just this amazing new change. I think it's just continued momentum building. I think that we certainly are going to see gigabit wireless come very strongly into consumer products next year. Both in the networking equipment as well as in the phones, the tablets, the PCs that we buy as clients on that network in the home. So that's going to be a big theme for next year. But again, it's nothing new to say that Wi-Fi is big and growing. Right. So that's going to continue. But I will say what is new, and I think will take, it's really, I think, going to be the story of the next decade, is what is interesting to do with your home network other than surf the internet, right? And we know.
The sole lone product of the wireless router that sits in the corner that's connected to the PC, big deal.
Right, and the fact is, I think people are waking up to the fact that this IP pipe into your home, the broadband pipe, can be used not only for internet. We know it can be used for IPTV. We know it can be used for voice, but there's now a myriad of other services that once you have that gateway hub established in your home, can be provided, right? And so I think we're just seeing the beginning of that. I think that's a story that's going to build over the next decade.
So I know that the people that we have spoken, the attendees and speakers and exhibitors at the multiple conferences that we've covered over the last at least 8 months have all sort of flavored that, this year's Connected Home arena is going to do some great changes, but the economics of what people are looking at, I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy a $1,000 TV and it's going to connect in and I'm going to be able to do all these wild, wonderful things. But now I'm more concerned about the power grid, the lights, the plugs, the wire arena where there's a lot of devices in the market space that we can get into now that is going to help me bring down the cost of running my home, which is now going to allow me that capital expenditure somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I think you're touching on the energy space. I think it's something we're excited about, but I think we also have to be realistic. I think the good news is consumers are starting to become conscious, not just here in Europe, but I think also in North America, where they traditionally haven't been about, hey, how much energy am I using every month? What am I paying? Why am I paying? I think that we're starting to slowly come up that curve. People are becoming aware of that particular spend, and maybe some things they can do to attack that, whether it be solar panels they put on their roof, the electric car they put in their garage, or maybe network devices they put around their home to have a bit more control. I think, I always go back to kind of fundamentally, we have to be very clear about what customer problem we're solving. The basic wireless router, as you called it earlier, I mean, the problem it solved, or the solution it provided to customers, was they were paying $40 or $50 a month for a broadband subscription. They wanted to share it amongst more than 2 computers. Wireless router allowed them to do that, right? Basic problem solved, right? So as we move into the smart home territory, whether it's energy management, or I'll use another example, security,
Sure.
right? Basic need, right, is people want to feel secure in their homes when they're at home, or maybe when they're away from home. Like, might be nice for me to be able to check that everything is okay at my house while I'm here in Europe on business travel.
Yep.
So I think basic needs like that, we always have to attach these kind of cool new technologies that we bring in and we love to talk about in the chips to an actual user problem. And I think that's where, when you can connect those two, then you start to see application growth in the connected home.
Very nicely said. I can guarantee you that if you had the ability to check on home and how much power was being consumed, you would send that text message, turn those lights off now.
Right. Well, and I had somebody put it, we're always talking about, maybe it's in our male-dominated approach to remote controls, we like to think that someday
we're in control.
that we're in control, and that I want to turn that light off or that light off. That might be interesting to certain people, but I had a conversation earlier in the week. Somebody was saying, maybe the way that the service should be presented would be more in terms of an alert. So rather than saying, turn my sprinklers on, not so interested in that, but, tell me if one of the sprinklers is broken or if I've got a water leak, right? I want to know immediately so that I can take action, call a plumber. Maybe a connected home is more about an alert service to make sure that everything is cool when you're away from home, or
I think that it's that is a very great topic of conversation, worthy of an entire panel discussion.
I think so. So that's why I think really we're on kind of the doorstep of what I think will be the next decade of kind of innovation and really figuring out what are, how can we apply technology but connect that to a consumer problem in a way that makes sense and is valuable, And
So if you're listening out there, app developers, you have a whole new set of challenges ahead of you. Finally, Todd, why is it important to be at Broadband World Forum? Why is it important to stay engaged?
yeah, I think we've been coming to Broadband World Forum for a number of years. I think it's a great collection of people in the supply chain, right, of broadband home. Both the service providers, the actual equipment manufacturers, the core technology and software providers, and it's kind of a rich environment to kind of discuss not only today's running business, but also kind of looking a little bit over the horizon, what's coming next. Align on maybe certain points or disagree and have some healthy debate on others. So
Fantastic. Todd, thanks very much for taking the opportunity to speak with us here today at Broadband. I hope we get a chance for an update again in the future.
all right, thanks. You're welcome.
I've been speaking with Mr. Todd Antes of Qualcomm Atheros here at Broadband World Forum in Amsterdam for 2012, and I am Tony Sklar with bnetTV.